Welcome back to Make the Machines. In today's episode, we're going to be finishing up putting our engine together. So last episode you saw we put all of our whole tire rotating assembly all together, our bottom end, and we're just going to slap on our timing cover and our pan, and we're going to flip it over and get ready to put our heads on. Well, we got to build our heads first, but so let's go put our timing cover on. Okay, so we got our timing cover all painted. I already put the new seal in. We are using the original timing cover, so it's a one-piece timing cover. They do make two pieces, which are kind of nice. You don't have to take the pan off if you want to take the timing cover off. Not like anyone actually does that to begin with. That's why that's all bent up in the bottom. So, we already got our gasket in place. Now I just need to throw our cover on, line up the dowels. We're using the original bolts for the timing cover. Put all those in. Get all the bolts started, all finger started, all in. These are just little 1/4-inch bolts, so their torque spec is probably around 10 to 15 inch-pounds. I don't have a torque wrench that does that small. So what I normally do is hold the head on my ratchet and I just make sure they're snug. So head of the ratchet, make sure they're snug, and that's usually good. And that's our timing cover. Ready to put our harmonic balancer in there. Do that later. Right now we'll put our oil pan on. Here's our oil pan gasket. Make sure that goes right in there. Has our in there. And normally when people put these gaskets in, they put silicone in the corners here. But since this is a solid rubber one, I don't think I'm going to do that. See how well it works out. Take your pan. Alright, so our kit came with new bolts, bolt washer, Alrighty. Give her a little flip over. Look at that. And don't forget, put your joint plug in. More importantly, when you do put your drain plug in, make sure you tighten it down. Alright, so we got our cover, got our pan on, pan drain plug in, tighten down. So ready to put the heads on, but for now we gotta cover back up because we gotta build our heads for it now. Alright, so before we build the heads, I gotta clean off my valves. So this is what I'm using to clean them off. Just a wire wheel on a grinder. Alright, so clean it off. Not sure if you can tell here, but mostly what I'm looking for is this face right here being smooth and not pitted out. You see, it's actually looks pretty good. So even though the top up here is super pitted, see all that? No, especially down here in the stem connecting part. The stem looks okay. At least everywhere it's going to be running on. And the bottom of the valve looks fine. And mostly our sealing edge isn't super pitted out or anything. So it looks like we could lap the valves in and be okay. So I'm going to do that with every valve I got for this. Now, would you run this in a high-performance engine? No, definitely not. You'd get a new one. But for a performance engine, no. Because it does have some in and out down here, and that weakens a little bit, but that little bit is enough. I'm going to go through, clean up the rest, and I'll be back when I'm done. Alright, so I got my valves cleaned off. I'm getting ready to seat them back in the head. And well, as I was doing this valve, I noticed this one's pretty banged up. So, what you don't want to see is this here. See? This flat, smooth edge right here is your seat. Is where your valve seat's at. So, when you see damages like this, pitted and whacked, and it's got that major lip right here, it's no good. Now I could regrind this, but see how deep this is right here? How deep that is right there? There might be nothing left of this valve, so I ordered a new one. It'll be here later. But in the meantime, the rest of them looked okay. Yeah, they're not the best. They have some of them have a lot of pitting up top. You see on this one, a lot of pitting up there, but the seat face is okay. I got the one coming. The rest look good, so I'm ready to seat them in, or do some valve lapping. And then we're going to lap this one in first. And there's different methods of lapping them in. You could do it by hand with this tool here. So you put your valve in, and then you use this. You put it on top of the valve, and you push it in, and you spin it back and forth. Kind of a little suction cup deal. That little suction cup on top of the valve. Alright, so you got your valve in there. You'll take this. That kind of suction cups to the top of the valve a little bit. And then, of course, you'll have your lapping compound on it. This, and then you just spin it back and forth. This one's quite old, and you can see And it's stressed out and splitting right there, so it doesn't stay on too well, but pretty much what you do. So you push onto some and you grind it in. Or there's the method that I use. You know, doing it with this tool, it's a lot easier to have a stand and everything. I don't have a stand, so I'm going to do it my way. And my way is a piece of hose, just like this. I have a little adapter piece, or if you could put your end of the hose in the chuck of the drill, that works too. I just don't want it to come off this side. So I put it on there, I hose clamp that on there, and you take the hose, make sure it's nice, snug fit. Then you're going to push it on the bottom, get it on there. And then you just slightly pull back on it. Okay, so I showed you the gist of how I'm going to lap my valves in. So I'm going to take my lapping compound, which is here, which is a water mix valve grinding compound. Now, why am I lapping? Because, you know, I have two machine flat surfaces. I want to stick them together, but they're not a perfect mate. So lapping is what we're making a perfect mate out of. Not a perfect mate, but a better mate out of. So they are tight, so they're sealed at a airtight situation. Now, very importantly, you do not want to get lapping compound on anything but your seats. Or just the valve and the seat you want to lap it into. It's very bad. It is, at the end of the day, a very abrasive compound that is made to take material away. And it does that very well. So you get that in there, get it set up, and then after you do that whole process, this is what you should end up with. So, see how it's got that middle stripe there? That's kind of dull, a little not as shiny, but it's nice and even all the way around. So I can see the shiny one over here, and a little dull one over here. See how it's all unison? It's all matching, it all looks like it's together. Same with this. Same with my valve. That's where seat's at, and it's all matches. There's no dark spots, there's no super shiny spots. That tells me that we're all done there with this one valve. Alright, so I'm here on my last valve. Put this in, you see this one here is my old valve. You see there all the pitting there. And this here is my new valve. So I wanted to show the difference between the two. Everything else is the same. Same size, same stem. Everything's all the same exact. The difference is the sealing. So we're going to get this one in there. this is the brand new one. So you see how it's all shiny? Now it's got that gray streak in the middle there. That's what you want. This one's fully seated. See? Nice, even all the way around on the seat of the head. That's what you want. So that's all done. Now you move on to the next part, and that is putting your springs on. So I got my valves. As I lapped them in, I kept them in the hole. So they're all set and ready. And now I'm going to put the springs on, my valve springs on. Do that is quite simple. Same way we took them off using the valve spring compressor. I got the old-fashioned boy here, and you want to make sure you put the same spring back in the same hole that it came out of. Now, first thing you do, make sure you have your parts all nice and clean. This style, the lifters here. Oh, I'm going to take some of my oil. Get a little drop on each side. Put the cap on. Spread it around. Now you put the spring on. I have the old style compressor here, the Craftsman ancient one. Make it a little easier using this one. First thing I'm going to do is put my spring in the holder here, just like that. And you can put it up on the valve. Wind down it. Alright, then you can press it down. Show you here how much I compressed it. So I just pushed it down so I could get to my second ridge easily, as I'm putting a new seal on it. And that's where my taper deals. I can't remember the name of them now. So I'm gonna put my little seal on here, right in there. Do that. Put a little bit of oil in there, just to make it slide on easier. This here is the seal. Just a little O-ring. And make sure it goes in right there. And the second groove in. You make sure it's nice and even. It's uniform. It's not didn't twist or anything up. Didn't twist when you put it on. You're all good there. And you get your valve keepers. Make sure they're all clean off the debris and everything. You can see them here. So I just put a little drop of oil on each one. And I got that stickiness of the STP, so it helps keep it in there. Slowly release it. Voila! There you go. You got your valve spring on. And you do that for the rest of them. So after that, you check your keepers, make sure they're unison. They're both even in there, just like that. And you're good. And after that, you're ready to move on to the next one. Well, the other two I did. Oh, that's how you put your springs back on, using my manual compressor. They have a lot nicer ones out there, newer ones. They have pneumatic ones even, which are quite nice. I've used those before. They work great. Takes the whole cranking and squeezing part out of it. It's just a... It's excellent. I recommend this. Alrighty, so I'm gonna get them all put together, and we're gonna be ready to set our heads on. Get them all bolted down and torqued up and getting one step closer. So I'll be back once I'm ready for you again. Alright, so get your surface all prepped, head gasket surface, make sure it's all clean, there's no oil or anything on it. Use ether or some kind of cleaner to clean it all off. I already did. And then we gotta put our head gasket on. You just make sure they're not directional. If they are, make sure they go the right direction. These ones don't appear to be so. So I'm going to put the stamped lettering on the top. So make sure it's all the way down. Seated. Now you're ready to put your head on. There you go. Has the two dowel locks. So you listen, put it on. It should slide right on top of the dowels, slide right into the dowels. Have no issues there. I should hold it there, but as soon as you get it on, you want to put the bolts in. Alright, so as soon as you get your head on there, you want to get a bolt in there and started. And of course, get the bolts started. Now, I bought new head bolts. A little fancier than the standard head bolts that came with it. Now for a performance issue, you know, with the supercharger or anything like that, you would use studs, but studs are really expensive. And these are performance bolts, so they should be good. They should be okay for what we're doing. And since they're Air P, they come with the faster lube, the fastener assembly lube. And they said use this instead of the motor oil. And according to the directions, you put a little bit on there, a little bit on there, and some on the threads. And you put all your bolts in. So you get all your bolts in, and you get them all tightened down, not tight or anything, just snug them, just so you barely not have to start putting your pressure on the bolt, hitting the head, and then from there you do your torque sequence. Now, 350, the torque spec is 65 foot-pounds, and we're going to do a 3-step torque spec up to 65. So first we're going to go to 30, and we're going to start in the center, the most centermost. That's your torque down head. You're ready to do the other side now. So I'm going to get that other one on and we'll be back for the next step. So just put in our cam followers, I'll just oil them up, put them in. Push rods, same thing, or kinda. Wipe them off a little bit. Now these are the old ones, the original push rods. So we're gonna make sure we put them in the right hole that they came out of. Of course, I have my little trays that I put them all in. As I'm pulling them out, I'm wiping them off, put them in. After that, you can put your rocker heads on. So when you have this style rocker, you have your head, put that on. Then you have your rocking nut or washer. That goes on. And you have your nut that keeps it all in place. Alrighty, so that's all my rockers on. I'm not going to adjust the valves right now because there's hydraulic lifters in it. And they're not oiled up or anything, so I'm not going to adjust those until I get it in the truck and I get oil pumping through everything. Then I can adjust the valves. But for now, I'm going to put on my bottom half of the intake. And that's where I'm going to be for the engine. It's going to be at this point, going to be ready to be put in the truck. Well, once I hook it up to the transmission and everything. And we're going to be there ready to do that. Alright, so for now, I just put my intake manifold. That's going to be my supercharger manifold on top. I don't have my silicone to put silicone on it, so I got to go get that. That's so my valve covers keep stuff clean. And stuff from out of it. And with that, this is my engine. It's ready to be put in the truck. I think it actually looks pretty nice with the white covers and gray block with aluminum. That's going to be up top. So with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And always be so kind to like, comment, subscribe. Next video, we're going to be checking out the transmission, and depending on whether it's good, usable the way it sits, there's nothing in it, there's no immediate issues or severe metal coming out of it, or spuck material, we're either going to be rebuilding that, or getting transmission mounted up to the engine to get ready to put it in the truck, or to be taking the engine that has it right now, the 305 with the 3-in-the-tree transmission. I'm not sure what they actually called that. Or we're going to be pulling that out. Getting ready to put this one in. So, again, thank you for watching. Until next time.